want to talk about something that I've been talking about a lot frequently, and I think it's an important topic for anybody who has experienced the power of letting go of their thoughts, of trying to control their thoughts. It's a stage of spiritual growth, I guess we could say, when you realize that you can't control your thinking. That actually thinking is not something you're doing, it's something that's happening to you. I like the idea that I'm not thinking, I'm being thought. So much freedom in the full embrace, the full acceptance of that in this moment, these thoughts that are arising, I have no control. They just show up. And on top of that, everything that I'm experiencing right now is the result of the thinking. I'm actually feeling my thinking. There's so much freedom in that, because although we can't control what's coming up, we have some agency over how much we're engaging in the experience, the feeling of that thinking. So the moment we start to see that this is just something that's happening, we can start to zoom out, zoom back, and all of a sudden, wow, we start to relax. And we can just watch the thoughts and the feelings move by us instead of being engaged with them. And there's so much freedom, there's so much power in that. I think it's a beautiful step. And what I see happen a lot with people, myself maybe at times in the past, is that the moment you start to experience that, you kind of say, well, screw thought. You know, it's not mine, it's just coming from somewhere, it's nothing to do with me. And you throw out your agency because you think not having control over thought means that you have nothing. And you kind of, I see in the freedom also becoming a trap, in that the relationship to thinking that gives you freedom is one where you give up all responsibility for the thoughts that are arising in your mind moment by moment. It's true that you don't have control over the thoughts in the moment, but there's a bigger story. And the reason I'm here at the beach right now, I hope you can hear me, is because I want to use a metaphor of the ocean. Let me flip the camera around to tell that story. So where do thoughts come from in the first place? These thoughts that are just emerging, that yes, in the moment I can't control it, they just show up. Where do they come from? Here, let's look. So there's the ocean, and on the ocean there are waves, and I love the idea that we are essentially a boat living on the surface of our consciousness. And so if I'm a boat and I'm living on the surface of my consciousness and there are waves, there's choppy waters, I'm going to feel those, right? So the more thinking there is, and certain kinds of thinking that are more volatile, the more I'm feeling getting tossed around, the more I'm feeling uncomfortable. Essentially, I'm feeling my thinking, and the thoughts are the waves. And so the cool thing is, the moment you see that, the moment you realize that you're just feeling the waves and you zoom out and you witness, the ocean becomes still, right? The thoughts just kind of, they float away, and your non-engagement in them has them not show up so much. It just gets quieter inside your mind. The chatter slows down. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then, of course, time goes by, something happens, and a thought emerges, a thought arises. It just, a wave rises from the surface of that still, calm ocean. And so if you have a quiet mind, the thoughts that emerge, sometimes you see them and that doesn't really work for me, and you let it pass, and other times, well, that seems inspired, I'm going to go with that. And that's a great thing. You have more choice when the mind is quiet, when it's just a wave here and there arising from the surface, beautiful thing. But my question for you is, where do these thoughts come from? Where do these waves come from that are just appearing? Is it just magic? Is it that the infinite universe is sending them into me like a radio signal? It's just shooting up into my consciousness? Is the wave just emerging spontaneously with no cause whatsoever? Nothing physical? I don't think so. When it comes to the ocean, I know where waves come from a physical standpoint. They come from the dance between the wind and the current beneath the surface. The wind and the current beneath the surface. These two things meet at the surface and waves appear. Waves appear. And so let's create that as an analogy for ourselves. Let me flip the camera back around so you can see me. Let's take that as an analogy and look at our own minds. Where do thoughts come from? Well, my mind is still and there's no chatter and it's just quiet inside. And then the wind of a circumstance arises. Something happens in front of me. Somebody walks past. Somebody says something. There's a breeze of activity in my life, in my environment. My sensory system picks up something. That's a wind coming in. And it meets the surface of my still and quiet mind. And a thought emerges. Was that thought showing up from somewhere that has no physical actuality to it? I don't think so. I think beneath the surface of my consciousness, beneath the surface of my awareness, beneath the surface of the thinking that I can actually hear, see, witness, and feel, beneath my feeling is an undercurrent. There's an undercurrent of thought that lives beneath the surface of all the things I think I'm thinking and I'm feeling. They're deeper thoughts. They're thoughts that you're not even feeling. They're thoughts of, they are a predisposition. They are a neural propensity. They are a potential for thought that live in the biology of my neurology because of all the pathways I've created throughout my life. And that web is there just sitting and waiting in the form of identity and in the form of worldview and in the form of concept of just the meaning that I've constructed about the world. And it's sitting there and it's waiting. It's an undercurrent that lives in me and is me, and it's waiting to meet the winds of circumstance. And the moment it does, boom, a wave rises from the surface into my consciousness. A thought is born. And that thought is, in a sense, magical, because it's the result of the meeting of a circumstance of the world and of the propensity and the predisposition of my neurobiology inside my mind. And those two things meet, and boom, a thought emerges. And in that moment, I can't do anything about that. I made the analogy recently that like thoughts are like farts, right? I can't control whether or not I have to fart right now. I have no control over that. I can either resist it, hold it in, get a stomach ache, or I can let it pass. I can engage in it and express it, let it pass, or just witness it and watch it pass, but I can't control it now. But what I put in my mouth today influences what I fart tomorrow, how much I do, what kind of farts I have. And it's the same with the ocean, it's the same with my mind, it's the same with thoughts. Where I put my attention today and what I engage in today with my conscious awareness is what paves the road for the undercurrents of tomorrow. What I engage in creates the propensity for thought tomorrow. I still don't have control, but I have influence. The decisions I make, where I put my attention today, creates the predispositions that are the undercurrent of my subconscious mind. And then tomorrow, when the winds of circumstance meet my mind through my sensory apparatus into the experience of who I am, and they meet that neurobiology of who I have constructed myself to be, largely unconsciously and hopefully a little bit consciously, through my attention, through the things that I inculcate as patterns into my body mind, boom, a thought emerges, boom, a thought emerges. And so wouldn't it be cool to have a predisposition, to have a neurobiology that meets the world of circumstance and gives forth waves, gives forth thoughts that are beautiful, that are loving, that are productive, that have me take action in ways that create all of the things that I want in my life? Wouldn't it be amazing to have a neurobiology that meets the winds of circumstance and gives forth only loving, great, beautiful, perfect, amazing, awesome thoughts? Probably not perfect, but close to it. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, it would, but we can't click our fingers and have that, right? So as we say, therefore I am just at the mercy of this emerging, arising thought. The waves are what they are. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. When you know that you don't have control, there's another place that you can go besides. It's not all control or nothing at all. You know, there's a place in the middle that is the dance. That is the dance. And it's this place of realizing that, yes, I can't control now, but I have influence over tomorrow. Where I put my attention today, the choices I make in what to speak and what patterns to create through the environment I construct and through the things I choose myself to think through my speaking. The patterns I generate actually create the undercurrents of who I am that will meet the winds tomorrow, and that will be part of the dance that give rise to those thoughts. And those thoughts, they're leading my feelings, they're leading my actions. And I think it's a beautiful thing to both be free from the trap of believing that I am my thinking and seeing that I have agency and influence over the thinking that emerges tomorrow that's directing and guiding my life. I hope this was helpful. Let me give you one little more shot of the ocean. It's a dance. Thank you for being here. I love you for listening. If you haven't already taken a look at my Creator Circle, find the link, check it out, reach out to me if you want to talk. Much love. I'll talk to you soon.